Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Mexico City is one of the biggest cities in the world, but it has a very strange and serious problem. The city is sinking. Every year, buildings and streets go down into the ground. In some places, the ground sinks very fast. This is a surprise because the old city here was famous for its control of water. The people who lived here long ago were masters of the water. Now, the modern city is sinking because there is not enough water under it. The story of this place started more than 700 years ago. The Aztec people were looking for a new home. A legend says their gods gave them a special sign. They saw an eagle on a cactus, and it was eating a snake. This important sign was on an island in the middle of a large lake called Lake Texcoco. So the Aztecs built their capital city there. They called their city Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan was a wonderful place. It was a city built on the water. It did not have many roads like we see today. Instead, it had many canals, and people used boats to travel everywhere. The Aztecs were very smart engineers. They built special gardens on the lake to grow food for many people. They also built walls to control the water and stop floods. They lived well with the lake. Water was a part of their life. Today, the lake is gone. A huge modern city stands in its place. But the memory of the lake is still in the ground. The ground is very soft. As the city uses water from deep under the ground, the soft earth gets dry and weak. This makes the city sink. How did this happen? How did a city built on water start to disappear into the earth? This is the important question we will explore. 2. A city on a lake. Many centuries ago, before Mexico City, there was a different city in the same place. This city was the capital of the Aztec people. Its name was Tenochtitlan. It was a wonderful and amazing city, famous across the land. It was not built on dry ground like most cities. Tenochtitlan was built on an island in the middle of a large lake called Lake Texcoco. It was one of the biggest and most organized cities in the world at that time. When the first Spanish visitors saw it, they were very surprised. They wrote that it was bigger and more beautiful than any city in Europe. The city looked like a dream on the water. It did not have many normal streets for walking or for carts. Instead, it had a large system of canals. Canals are like rivers that people make. These canals were the main roads of Tenochtitlan. People used thousands of boats and canoes to travel everywhere. They used them to visit friends, go to the big market, or transport goods from the farms. This system of water roads connected the entire city and made travel easy and fast for everyone who lived there. The city was a busy place with lots of boat traffic. The Aztecs needed a lot of food for all the people in Tenochtitlan. The city was home to about 200,000 people, a very large population. But it is hard to farm on a lake. The Aztecs had a very clever solution. They built special gardens called chinampas. These are often called floating gardens, but they did not really float. They were small, man-made islands. Workers built them using mud and plants from the bottom of the lake. These new islands had very fertile soil. This meant the soil was perfect for growing plants. The Aztecs grew corn, beans, and many other vegetables on the chinampas. These gardens produced food all year. The Aztecs were experts at managing water. They built an amazing system to control the lake and its different waters. The water in Lake Texcoco was salty, so it was not good for drinking or for their plants. To solve this, the Aztecs built special water bridges called aqueducts. These long aqueducts brought fresh, clean water from springs in the mountains into the city. They also built long, strong walls in the lake. These walls were called dikes. The dikes were very important. They protected the city from floods during the rainy season. They also separated the lake's salty water from the fresh water needed for the chinampa gardens. For the Aztecs, water was not an enemy to fight. It was a partner. They lived in harmony with the water, and it helped their great city grow strong and prosperous. 3. The lake is gone. In the year 1519, everything changed for the Aztec city. Spanish soldiers, led by a man named Hernán Cortés, arrived. They were surprised to see the amazing city on the lake, but they came to conquer the land. They fought the Aztecs for 2 years. In 1521, they destroyed Tenochtitlan. They also broke the special dikes and canals that the Aztecs used to control the water. The perfect balance with water was lost. The Spanish wanted to build a new city where Tenochtitlan once stood. But they had a different idea. They wanted a dry city like the cities in Europe. They planned to build big churches and houses with heavy stone. They needed solid ground for this, not a wet lake bed. The broken water system also created another problem. Without it, the new Spanish settlement flooded very badly. After one big flood, the city was underwater for 5 years. They needed a permanent solution. So the Spanish made a very big plan. They decided to drain all the water from the lake. This was an enormous project that took centuries to finish. The first major work began in 1607. They planned to dig a giant tunnel through the mountains around the valley. This tunnel would be a drain for the lake. Thousands of local people were forced to do this hard and dangerous work, and many of them died. The lake fought back with more floods, but the Spanish continued to dig more tunnels and canals. Over hundreds of years, the lake slowly disappeared. This created terrible problems for nature. The valley's climate changed. It became hotter and drier without the huge lake. The rich life in the water was gone. There were no more fish or water birds. The famous chinampas, the floating gardens, turned into dry, useless land. By the year 1900, Lake Texcoco was almost completely gone. The Spanish finally had their dry land for a big European-style city. But they had built it on a soft bed of clay that was once at the bottom of the lake. It was not strong. This decision created a new and very serious problem for the future of Mexico City. 4. Why the city sinks. Mexico City has a very serious problem. The ground under all the buildings and streets is sinking. To understand why, we need to look at what is under the city. The answer is a story about soft earth and water. Imagine a big, wet sponge. It is full of water, so it is large and strong. You can put something heavy on it. Now, imagine you slowly squeeze all the water out. The sponge changes. It becomes much smaller and weaker. The heavy thing on top will sink down. This is exactly what is happening under Mexico City, but on a huge scale. The city is built on the ground where Lake Texcoco used to be. This ground is not hard rock. It is many meters of soft, wet clay. For thousands of years, this clay was full of water. The water in the clay acted like a support. It helped to hold up the ground and everything built on top of it. But today, Mexico City is one of the biggest cities in the world. More than 20 million people live there. They need a very large amount of water every day for drinking, cooking, and washing. The city gets most of this water from deep underground. There are thousands of wells that pump water from under the clay layer. This pumping is like squeezing the giant sponge. It pulls the water out of the soft clay. As the clay loses its water, it starts to shrink and become compact. The small particles of clay pack together tightly. When the clay shrinks, the ground above it drops, and so the city sinks. The sinking is not the same everywhere. Some parts of the city sink much faster than others. In the historic center, the ground goes down by a few centimeters each year. But in some eastern parts of the city, the ground sinks by almost half a meter every year. This is because the clay layer is much thicker there. One side of a street can sink much more than the other side. This is a very big problem because the change is permanent. Once the clay shrinks, it cannot go back to its old size. The city took the water that kept the ground stable. Now the ground is slowly and permanently going down. 5. Problems for the city. The sinking ground is a very big problem for Mexico City. It is not just about the land getting lower. The sinking changes everything. It creates serious problems for the people who live there, for their homes, and for the whole city. Daily life becomes very difficult when the ground under your feet is not stable. In many parts of the city, the sinking ground damages houses. Walls get big cracks. Floors are not flat anymore. They begin to tilt. Sometimes doors and windows do not open or close because the shape of the house has changed. The streets also break. A flat street can become like a small roller coaster, with high parts and low parts. It is dangerous to walk or drive. This is a big problem for many families. Their homes are not safe, and they worry about them every day. The sinking also damages the pipes under the city. These pipes carry water to homes. When the ground moves, the pipes break. A lot of clean water leaks out and is lost. Because of this, many people do not have enough water. They sometimes have no water for days. This creates another problem. To get more water, the city pumps more from under the ground. But taking more water makes the ground sink even faster. It is a cycle that is hard to stop. Even the city's most famous and beautiful old buildings are in danger. The Metropolitan Cathedral is a very old and important church. It is slowly leaning to one side because the ground under it is sinking unevenly. Another famous building, the Palacio de Bellas Artes, has sunk more than 4 meters. These historic buildings are an important part of Mexico's culture. The city is trying hard to save them, but it is a very difficult and expensive job. The problem of the sinking ground is not the same for everyone in the city. In the richer neighborhoods, the ground is hard rock. The buildings there are safe. But in the poorer neighborhoods, the city is built on the soft ground of the old lake. Here, the sinking is much worse. People in these areas have the most problems with broken houses and water shortages. Life is much harder for them because of the sinking city. It is an unfair situation for millions of people. 6. Finding new water. Mexico City has a serious problem. It needs water for its many people, but taking water from under the ground makes the city sink. To solve this problem, people are searching for new ways to find and save water. One new idea is to collect rainwater. During the rainy season, a lot of water falls from the sky. Some people are now putting special systems on the roofs of their houses. These systems catch the rain from the roof. The water is cleaned through filters and then stored in large plastic tanks. This gives families clean water for many months. It is very helpful in poorer neighborhoods where water shortages are common. The city government is helping to install thousands of these systems. Another important solution is to clean and reuse wastewater. Wastewater is the dirty water that goes down drains from homes and businesses. The city produces a very large amount of this water every day. New, big treatment plants can now clean this water. The cleaned water is not for drinking, but it can be used for other things, like flushing toilets or watering gardens and parks. When the city reuses water, it does not need to pump as much fresh water from the ground. This is very good, but building the pipes and systems to reuse water across the city is difficult and costs a lot of money. People are also talking about making Mexico City a sponge city. A sponge can hold a lot of water. The idea is to make the city do the same. This means creating more parks and planting more trees. Buildings can have green roofs with plants on them. New roads and sidewalks can be built with special materials that let rain soak through into the ground below. These ideas use nature to help solve the water problem. All of these solutions are smart, but they are not simple. They are expensive and will take a long time. It shows the city is trying hard to fix its relationship with water. 7. A lesson for other cities. Mexico City's problem is a big warning for the whole world. Its story is not just about one place. It is a lesson for many other big cities. Around the world, other cities are facing the same kind of trouble. They are also sinking, and they need to learn from what is happening in Mexico. Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia, is one example. The city is sinking very fast. Some parts sink by 25 centimeters every year. The government is even planning to move the capital to a new city. Bangkok, the capital of Thailand, also has this problem. Like Mexico City, these places are taking too much water from under the ground. When the water is gone, the ground becomes weak and sinks. The main lesson is about how cities grow. A city cannot just get bigger and bigger without a smart plan. It must think about nature and its resources, especially water. When a city grows too fast and uses all its water, it creates dangerous problems for the future. The ground becomes unstable, and buildings and roads can break. This shows that big growth without care for the environment is a serious risk. Climate change makes everything more difficult. It is changing the weather around the world. Higher temperatures mean people and cities need more water to drink and to stay cool. The rain is also changing. Sometimes there is too much rain, which causes floods. Other times there is not enough rain for a long time. This makes the water problem even harder for every city, not just for Mexico City. The story of Mexico City is an important lesson. It shows that cities must change. They need to be more careful with water and plan their growth better. It is a serious warning. If other cities do not listen, they could have the same problems in the future. 8. The future. Mexico City faces a very big challenge for its future. The city is sinking, and at the same time, it does not have enough water for its 22 million people. The ground sinks when too much water is taken from the aquifers below. This causes serious damage to buildings, roads, and water pipes. It is a huge problem that touches everyone who lives there, and finding a solution is very difficult. The city is trying to fix the problem with new technology. There are important projects to collect more rainwater. There are also new plants to clean wastewater so it can be used again. These new ideas are helpful and show that people are working on the problem. However, technology alone cannot stop the city from sinking. The problem is too big and has been happening for a very long time. A real long-term solution requires bigger changes. The city must change its relationship with water. It needs to change how it grows. A city this large cannot continue to expand and use more and more water. People and businesses must learn to conserve water and use it more responsibly. This change in thinking is as important as any new machine or pipe. Perhaps the answer is in the past. The ancient Aztecs built their capital, Tenochtitlan, on a lake. They did not try to remove the water. Instead, they lived in harmony with it. They created smart systems to manage floods and grow food on the lake. They understood that water gave them life. Modern Mexico City could learn from this history. It could try to work with nature, not against it. The people and the government of Mexico City have difficult choices ahead. They must decide how to manage growth and protect their water for future generations. These decisions will not be easy, and they will affect millions of lives. The city's survival depends on making these hard choices soon. What do you think is the most important change Mexico City needs to make?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.